Well, welcome back, friends. Millie's ready for her story. She's chilled out, relaxed, ready to listen. I hope you are. Hope you've had a lovely weekend, enjoying the sunshine. I hope you've not eaten too many Easter eggs, but at least had a little bit of chocolate. It's delicious Easter eggs all to be had. We're going to continue another chapter from the book Friska, My Friend, and we'll have a devotion from the Indescribable book. So get yourself settled like Millie, have a lie down maybe, whatever you're comfortable doing, however you're sitting, and I will start. So we're on chapter 3 of Friska, My Friend. And remember that Colin had the dog, was looking after the dog, and we finished with Colin in his bed and the dog had joined him too. So chapter 3. Now when Colin came out to school next day, the vicar was waiting for him and walked down the road with him. "Well," said Simon, "what about the dog?" "She's fine. Dad says I can keep her." "Well, he sort of said so." "What about old Charlie?" "We found out about him. The police got in and found the house empty. But there was a letter from his sister in Ledbury and they phoned her. Charlie went on the bus to spend the day with her last Saturday. He was taken ill and rushed into hospital. He didn't know anything till last night, but now he's coming round. First thing he did was ask about the dog. I said not to worry, she was in good hands." "That's right, but will old Charlie come home?" "I doubt it. He's had a stroke and his sister thinks he'll have to stay in hospital. If he hears the dog's in a good home, I think he'd be glad to leave it at that." Colin stood still in the middle of the road and looked at the vicar. "Then she's mine now?" he asked. "Seems like it," said the vicar. "Then you tell old Charlie she'll have a good home all right," said Colin. "I'd best get back and see how she's doing." "Can I bring her to Wednesday group?" I suppose so," said the vicar, rather doubtfully. "As long as they don't all want to bring dogs, we'll see how it goes." "Thanks," said Colin, and set off very quickly up the lane. He reached the farm very out of breath and met his dad going to the milking shed. "She's mine, Dad," he puffed. "Mine to keep." "Who is?" "The dog. Oh, Charlie's in hospital and probably not coming back. I can keep her. Oh, Dad, I can keep her, can't I?" "Well, I suppose so, but she's to sleep in the kitchen and that's that. Understand? Your mum was very upset when she found her on your bed." Colin grinned and ran to the house. The dog came barking to meet him. He flung his arms round her neck. "You're mine and I'm going to call you Friska," he whispered. "I'll let Joy take you out for a walk sometimes, but you're mine, 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 mine." But poor Joy didn't get much of a chance to walk Friska. Friska would follow no one but Colin. The dog howled when Colin went to school and rushed down the lane to meet him when he came home. On Saturday he walked her far across the fields and woods, and on Sunday he wanted to take her to church. "The vicar wouldn't mind," said Colin. "She was ever so good at Wednesday group." "Don't be silly, Colin," said Mum. Friska whined and Joy started laughing. "You'll have her in the music group with me next," she said. "Now come on and stop fooling," said Dad. They set off down the lane, and when they reached the road, Joy began to run. She wanted to see her friends in the music group before the service began. Everyone in the village liked the vicar and the church was nearly full for the family service. Colin usually enjoyed the first part, all the songs, but he and the other young people went off to their Bible class then. So he did not often listen to the sermon, but today was different. Simon read a verse from the Bible twice through and then made the children say it after him. The vicar told them that this was what God said. "Don't be afraid. I have rescued you. I have called you by name. Now you belong to me." And then Colin could hardly believe it. Simon was talking about him, but he did not say his name. "This week," said Simon, "a sad thing happened to old Mr. Brown, who lived on the edge of the common. But it would have been much sadder had it not been for two kind boys." Colin blushed. The vicar went on to talk about the hungry, lonely dog and how two boys had noticed and cared for it. At this point, Colin turned his head and grinned at Will. Simon told how he and one of the boys had whistled at the gate and how the dog had come rushing out. Then he told the people what Colin had said. "Then she's mine now. She'll have a good home all right." Simon went on to say how the dog had come to Wednesday group, but would not go to no one but her own master. "He's named her Frisker," said the vicar. "He only has to call her name and the dog runs to him. She isn't lonely or hungry or frightened any more. She's his, and I know he'll care for her." Colin smiled at Dad and nudged Mum. "And it was this," said the vicar, "that reminded me of the verse we just read in the Bible." He went on to explain that God called people to come to him. They could say no, or they could say yes. If they said yes, it was like they were answering his call, like Frisker did. Like Frisker, they would belong to a master who would love them and care for them. They'd belong to someone who would say to them, "Don't be afraid. I have rescued you. I have called you by name. Now you belong to me." "That's what God says to each of us," said Simon. "He says, if you answer and come to me, you will be mine forever and safe forever." There was more, but Colin was so excited that he didn't listen much to the rest of it. When it was over, Joy came over to him looking quite proud. "Fancy having a sermon all about you, Colin," she said very loudly. The people nearby looked at him. "Well, well," said the man who ran the garage. "Well done, lad." And Colin's teacher said, "So you were the hero of the story, were you?" Colin went redder than ever, but he did not hang around for long, for up at the farm his dog was waiting for him. He left Mum, Dad and Joy talking outside the church and hurried up the lane. But as he ran, part of the verse he'd heard kept going around and around in his head. He wanted to get home to say it to Frisker. "Don't be afraid. I have called you by name. Now you belong to me." And we read another chapter next time. So now let's have a devotion from Indescribable. So this one is titled "No Bones About It." And the Bible says, when a believing person prays, great things happen. That's from James 5 verse 16. Bones. They're what separate us from jellyfish. Well, bones, intelligence, souls and a few other things. But the point is that bones are hugely important. The adult body has 206 bones, and more than half of them are in your hands and feet. The femur, which is the thigh bone, is the longest, while the stapes, which is in your middle ear, is the smallest. Bones do many things for your body. For example, bones keep you standing tall. They make up your skeleton and give your body its shape. Bones provide a frame for your muscles so you can move. And they protect your soft tissues and organs. They also store minerals that your body needs, like calcium. And bone marrow, the stuff inside your bones, is actually a factory for your blood cells. So yes, the bones of your skeleton are pretty important, but they aren't the only bones you have. You also need to have healthy bones of faith. You keep these bones healthy by praying to God, praising Him, studying his word, and being with his people. The bones of faith are some of the most important bones you need to shape your life. They help keep you moving in the right direction as you follow God's will. They protect the soft insides of your heart and soul, and they store up the power of God in your spirit, so it's there when you need it. If you keep your bones of faith healthy, these bones will keep you standing tall when temptations and tough times come. Make no bones about it, these bones of faith are hugely important. Lord, show me how to keep my bones of faith strong so I can always stand tall for you. Now be amazed. You were actually born with 300 bones in your body, but now you have only 206. What happened? Did you lose some bones? No, but some of them did grow together. For example, when babies are born, the bones in their skull are still separate. They're connected only by tough membranes called fontanelles. These create the soft spot on a baby's head. Over time, the bones grow together and become solid. Wow, that's interesting. I'm glad to find out I didn't lose any bones, because that would be a bit careless and I might feel a little bit floppy and wobbly in places. All that happened is that they grew together. Wow, I like that. I like that be amazed bit, because it's fascinating. If you're anything like me and you like science, you're loving those devotions, and I do. So I hope you've enjoyed our time together. It's been lovely to share the stories with you. So let's finish with a prayer. Join me. Dear God, we thank you for this time together, that we can share stories, that we can be reminded as we read the book of Friska that you have called each and every one of us. And if we answer yes to your call, then we belong to you, that you love us and care for us, and you will always protect us. And God, thank you that you created our bodies in such an amazing way, all those bones having a function, keeping us standing tall. So God, help us to stand tall, keep our bones of faith healthy as we praise you, worship you, read about you in the Bible. And Lord, in this time, help us to spend, or use different ways to connect with people from church, with people from other friends and family, Father, that we can still be together while we are separated by our houses. So God, we pray that you will be with us at this time, and thank you that through you we can be together with family who are far away. Amen. Now, join me next time for another chapter of Friska. I don't know if Millie will be with me. Maybe it'll be Elsie. Either way, I'll try and get a dog involved, because I know some of you in particular love seeing the dogs. I think that my dogs are going to be more famous than me one day, but that's okay. So join me again, and I will see you very soon. Take care.